Hi, hello, happy new year, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are well and that you had a good year last year, 2019, and that 2020 has started off on a good note for you guys. And well, if not, it's not too late to change. Come on here and share like a few things that I learned over the course of last year. Yeah. One of the things that I learned last year was patience. So I have been schooling in China for almost 5 years, if not longer, and so that kind of became like home to me. So coming back here and trying to adjust, I kind of went through a reverse culture shock because I'm like, okay, I have to adapt to home things. So most of the things that I actually learned were during my time in the hospital. It actually taught me a lot about myself, and yeah. So there are days when I did feel like I wanted to give up, and I'd come home and my mom would be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I had a horrible day." She's like, "I can tell." And she would really just encourage me. I really thank God for her because she'd encourage me. She said, "No, you know what? You just go back. Like, go back tomorrow. Like, it's gonna get better. The first time that you go into a place is very different, because hospitals in China are different from the ones here. And honestly, I haven't been a sick child, so I've barely been in hospitals here, and I did not really know how they worked, and it's one thing to be a patient and one thing to sort of be like a doctor, because I am a student doctor. So learning to be patient with everyone and to be patient with myself, to say like, what, you can actually adapt to this and you don't have to beat yourself up about it, because these things are normal, and adjusting to new things is it's all part of the process. So I think that was the biggest lesson. One of the biggest lessons I learned: patience. I guess tied to patience, I learned how to not give up and how to be resilient, right? So I wrote actually out the definition of resilience, and it means the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. So I guess that is my number two. I learned how to be resilient, how to recover quickly from difficulties, because you see, when you're going to the hospital, you can't be, when you're the one who's like a doctor, you can't be in a slump. Even if it's difficult today, you have to go back tomorrow and smile and say, "Hi, how may I help you? How are you feeling today?" So I learned how to bounce back pretty quickly, because I realized early on that there was no time for me to sit down and be sorry for myself, because work was piling on. So I just had to tough it up and continue to just try and do the best that I could. The third thing that I learned was hard work. I learned how to work hard, because honestly, I'll tell you, I had to work almost twice as hard as everybody else, because I'm in final year. Because I'm in final year, and so everybody kind of like expects you to know a lot of things. And so when they're asking questions, because we had there's a local university as well that does rotations from the hospital that I'm at, I really had to make sure that I read and I knew my stuff. Okay, I had to be hardworking, because I didn't know how to do a lot of practical stuff, because it's a bit different. Like I said, in China, I didn't know how to do a lot of practical stuff. So I had to start learning how to draw blood. And there are people who knew that. And imagine, it was so embarrassing. Like, you're going to be a doctor and you don't know how to draw blood from a patient. Like, are you serious? But I learned how to do that. And I do it so well. If I can like pat myself on the back. But you know what? That's another point. You have to learn how to give thanks to yourself. You have to learn how to praise yourself. You have to learn how to appreciate yourself, because there's so many things that were going on, and initially there's so many things that go on in life, but then you feel like, okay, you know what, I'm not doing enough and I could do more and I could do better. But like, sometimes you just have to appreciate where you are now. Appreciate where you are now, appreciate the journey, appreciate how far you've come, and say, you know what, girl, I know, like, because I can say that when I started and how I'm ending my internship, it's quite different. I was very, timid, soft spoken, and quiet, and, always like in the background. But I learned how to, kind of like take charge and, just be more out there and, learn from as many people as I can. And yeah. And because like I said, sometimes there are days when you're just like, I felt like I wanted to quit, but it was when I decided not to quit and I went back that I actually said, you know what, girl, you're doing good. Another person, maybe they would have quit, but not you, not today. And yeah, so that's one of the lessons I'm taking, to to always applaud myself for the work that I do. It might not be better than another person's, but it's better than what I did yesterday. It's better than what I did in the past weeks or so. So that's a lesson. You should learn always to applaud yourself, give yourself a pat on the back and say, girl, you are doing good, and keep going, and you get to where you go to. I surprised myself throughout last year, I really did surprise myself. One of the other things that I learned last year was perspective. So perspective is basically how people view things or how you view things. So it's very important to have a positive perspective over life, because I realized, as I was in the hospital, I could have, because there are now quite a number of students, so they divide you into groups. Those groups have the junior interns, which are the doctors, like the junior doctors, and then you have the people who are doing like their masters, so those would be like your residents, I guess. And then from residents you have the attending, which are consultants. So I was in the group that I was in. I noticed that in some of the departments that I was in, and some of the people that I was with, I noticed that when I was there, I'd say like, oh my gosh, I'm having such an amazing time, and there'd be another person having the worst time in the world. And I'm like, okay, we're working together in the same environment and the same place, but how I was taking things and how they were taking things was very different. And I thank God, because I was like, it's tough out here, God, and I can't do this by myself. So I choose to be positive, because if I let negativity get to me, then it's gonna be bad. So one of the things that I learned was to always have a positive perspective, a positive outlook basically on life. Don't always be so negative and be like, oh, so that person said, that's why, like, get your own experiences out of life, and then judge from that. Because like I said, coming in, a lot of people told me that, what, it's gonna be bad, because this is how the doctors treat the students that are foreign trained. But honestly, I found the most amazing doctors that I'm thankful for them. I found the most amazing doctors that I worked with from start to finish. Most of them were so amazing. They were so willing to teach me, and that's also because I was eager to learn. So sometimes just experience things for yourself. Don't take what everybody says for it, and just do you. Yeah. So I learned how to be positive about everything. And so when I was positive, like, certain days were not the best, but because I chose to be positive, they were good days and they were not bad days. One of the other things that I learned was discipline. It's always good to be disciplined and have it's always good to be disciplined. When you're a doctor, you're expected to work every single day. I don't know about other countries, but in Zambia, most doctors work from Sunday to Sunday. That means 7 days a week, not 24/7, but 7 days a week. They're required to be there for a particular period of time. So I learned how to be disciplined. Some days you feel like, I don't want to go to work, but I learned how to get up and say, you know what, I'm still gonna go. There days obviously that I did slack, 'cause girl, still learning, but I learned how to be more disciplined, because especially because there are certain patients that I connected with. Like, I'm a people person. I love to talk to people, And so there were these patients, and I was just like, I wanted to go back and see how they were doing. So for the sake of that, I learned how to be disciplined and go back every day and see them and like, oh, how are you doing? And because some of them, when they see me, they're like, oh, doctor, you're here. Yeah, I was called doctor, even though I'm not yet fully graduated. But yeah, they'd be like, oh, doctor, you're here. How are you? And I just have a conversation with them. And I think it's important, people are sick, make them happy. Like, why not? So I learned how to be disciplined, and even like working with people, you have to learn how to work in a group, in a team, and how to properly communicate with each and every person. So yeah, yes, I actually have 3 more points, and I'm just going to put them together. So this is them. 1 is humility. 2 is the power of praying ahead. And the last one is being excellent in everything that you do. Humility, you're working with so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And sometimes, because like I told you, I had to work almost twice as hard as everybody else. So sometimes maybe there would be people that came because most of the groups that I worked with, like from the other university, they'll probably leave me in a department to move on to another department, because some of the rotations were shorter than I was. Like, for example, I was in internal medicine for 3 months, and some just came for 8 weeks, and then after they would leave and other people would come. So that would mean that I knew sort of more than them in terms of like how the department worked and what was expected of them, and some of the answers to the questions that our consultants would ask us during but I had to learn how to be humble and not show myself like, oh, I've been here longer than you and I know more than you. You just have to be humble, because I believe that we learn from so many different people, and we shouldn't be stuck up and think that we know everything, because we really don't. What I know, you don't know. And what you know, I probably don't know. So we need to just learn to help each other. And we have to do that in humility and not in a prideful way. When somebody comes and they ask you for help, don't say, oh, I got this, or I know this. No, just humble yourself. Like, there's no need for you to be over the top, Yeah, there's no need for you to be over the top. And just be humble. Like, nobody likes a prideful person or an arrogant person. Like, nobody likes such a person, because it's disgusting, honestly. Like, you don't want to be dealing with such people. So yeah, so don't be that person as well. And then when it comes to the power of praying ahead, it's so important to pray about anything and everything, okay? And there were things that I prayed for like years ago, and I only saw them coming to being last year, because I was praying into my future. And that's why I'm saying that the power of praying, like, there's power in praying ahead. I felt like it's a bank, like a little bank, and I'll just drop my prayers in it. And yeah, and God was answering me, and I was just so grateful. And I'm like, God, thank you. Because honestly, sometimes I honestly didn't even remember that I had prayed for those things, because there's so many things that I've prayed for in my life, and sometimes I don't remember what they are. I don't remember what everything I've prayed about for, because to me, prayer is like, it's just communication with God. So just the way I'm talking to you guys right now, this is how I sometimes talk to God. I'm like, hi daddy, how are you? If I haven't talked to him in a long time, I tell him I miss him, and then I just like to tell him about my day. So I don't remember everything I prayed about. Yeah, but I got the answers. God just came through for me, and I felt like he made my whole experience easier. He made my whole experience easier, because without him, like, where would I be? He made my whole experience easier, I feel, because I feel like he put me in the right under the right people that I could learn from, and that were actually willing to teach me and just be so amazing to me. So yeah, so don't think that prayer doesn't work, because it really does work. My life is a life of prayer. I can't not pray, because it's what keeps me going. Because when I pray, I'm staying connected to my source of life, which is God. And sometimes I feel like I want to give up, but when I'm connected to him, he strengthens me. There's this verse that says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. and I really got strength from him last year. I did things I didn't even think I was capable of. So it's very important for you to stay connected to God and have him be the one that leads you and have him be the one that guides you, because at the end of the day, he's the only one, you know, that can satisfy your soul. He's the only one that can bring greatness out of you, even though you already have it. But I don't know how to explain this, but he has his way of just like, you know, magnifying that and then making you see yourself in that light. And so that was one of the things that I learned. Like, it's so important to pray. Don't only pray for the now, but pray for your future as well. And then the last thing that I said was to be excellent in everything that you do. Now, because you're a child of God and you have the spirit of excellence in you, whatever work you do cannot be short of that. So I learned how to always put my all into everything that I was doing. I learned how to, you know, and I didn't do it so that somebody would tell me that, oh, good job, and you did this and you did that. No, I just did it because I was representing my father, and I knew that my father is an excellent God and he wants something excellent out of me. So whatever I did, I tried to represent him in that way, because the truth is, you know, a lot of churches preach about, you know, winning souls and everything, and sometimes you will not get that opportunity to sit down and say, do you believe in Jesus? Like, do you accept him as your Lord and your personal Savior? But just the way that you live your life is a way that people can see, like, okay, you know what, there's just something different about this person, you know. And so I tried to be, you know, as good in my work as I could, and it actually paid off, because going in, I thought that I was, you know, really like, okay, I really don't know anything and I want to learn, and I don't know anything and I really just want to learn, and I really just, you know, want to survive basically. But I didn't just survive, I thrived and I flourished. And it's just all because of the grace of God, you know, because I stayed connected to God. And you know, when it comes to work, like in whatever workplace that you're in, if you're a Christian, make sure that you do it to the best of your abilities. Because, okay, even if you're not Christian, honestly, but you just want to do everything well, because even if you wanted a promotion in your work, nobody's gonna give a promotion to somebody who's lazy and who, you know, is always late or tardy or whatever. Like, they want people who they know that, okay, you know what, even if I had to leave this company, if I come back and this person is in this position, then they can do well. So let excellence be your brand. I know that's something that Oprah Winfrey says. I think she speaks about it in her new book. I haven't read it yet, but let excellence be your brand. When they call your name, you know, when they say Clara, I want them to associate it with excellence and nothing short of that, because I have the spirit of excellence in me. I'm looking forward to a lot in 2020, but I'm deciding to be a person who basically works in silence and then let my work speak for me. Basically, like, sometimes you just have to work in silence, you know. You don't have to tell everybody your business, because not everybody is happy for you. They say private victories make public victories, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you've made it to the end, thank you for watching, and please give me a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Bye.